Hola, bienvenidos a otra Satchel class. Soy Mr. Castrillon, and today we are going to be learning a lot of things about food, but also we're going to be learning about what we call connectives, a very specific group of them. However, the ones we are going to be learning today, are the ones we use to show opposition. And of course, they are going to be really important when you're actually talking about things that you like, but that you don't like at the same time. So let's see what today's objectives are. Hoy vamos a repasar vocabulario sobre la comida. Vamos a expresar nuestra opinión sobre la comida. Vamos a construir oraciones en español, dando nuestra opinión e incluyendo, pero, sin embargo, no obstante. Y vamos a traducir oraciones al inglés. So first we are going to revise the important words that we need for today's lesson, and then we are going to start doing some sentences with those words. Now, el restaurante. Feel free to repeat after me. El restaurante. As you can see, is a very clear word or easy word to remember. It looks very similar to the word restaurant in English. Nos gustaría una mesa para 2 personas. This is something that you usually say when you're going to a restaurant. El mesero, la mesera, o el camarero, la camarera. This is really important because in some countries, like mine, for instance, we say el mesero or la mesera. But in other countries, like in Spain, you would say el camarero or la camarera. Keep an eye on those differences between masculine and feminine. El cocinero, la cocinera. Once again, masculine, feminine. And usually when you have a word ending in O, it means that it's a masculine. And when it ends in A, it is a feminine. It's not always the case, so be very careful when you are actually checking the word. El menú. Check that tilde at the top of U. We use it there, or we put it there to emphasize that sound. Although I tend to say, make it longer. For instance, menú, U. You allow that U sound to go longer, and the stress is going to be very clear in Spanish. La cuenta. La cuenta. Once again, we are doing lots of combinations of vowels like U, E, cuenta. So always be very careful when you're pronouncing these words. So let's check different types of food. So what's going to happen next is you're going to look at the name of certain types of food, and you need to fill in certain gaps. For instance, this one. Can you fill in the gaps? Can you put in the missing letters of that word? Or how would you say eggs in Spanish? I'm going to pronounce it for you. Los huevos. Los huevos. Let's see how you did. Los huevos. Next one. How do you say cereal in Spanish? Feel free to write down the missing gaps, and then of course you can fill in at home. I'm going to repeat, I'm going to pronounce it for you and see where you can get those missing letters. El cereal. El cereal. There we go. El cereal. Next. Meat. ¿Cómo se dice meat en español? How do you say meat in Spanish? I'm going to pronounce it for you. La carne. La carne. Are you ready? There we go. La carne. Next. Chicken. ¿Cómo se dice chicken en español? How do you say chicken in Spanish? I'm going to pronounce it for you now. El pollo. El pollo. There we go. El pollo. Next one. Very famous food in Spain and many South American countries as well, or Latin American countries. How do you say, ¿cómo se dice? I'm not going to say it because it actually is the Spanish word. I'm going to pronounce it for you. El chorizo. El chorizo. Check your spelling. There we go. El chorizo. Next one. Very famous type of food in lots of Latin American countries. I myself love it. I'm going to pronounce it so you can check the spelling. El arroz. El arroz. There we go. El arroz. ¿Cómo se dice juice in Spanish? How do you say juice in Spanish? El zumo o zumo. El zumo or zumo. The difference is in Latin America, we say zumo. In Spain, they will say zumo. However, we do have another word in Latin America for juice. El jugo. El jugo. Por ejemplo, el jugo de naranja, el jugo de manzana, el jugo de uvas. Very famous type of food anywhere and everywhere in the world. French fries or chips. ¿Cómo se dice French fries o chips en español? How do you say French fries in Spanish? I'm going to pronounce it for you now. Las patatas fritas. Las patatas fritas. Las patatas fritas. Very well done. So we have quite a few items that we can use for today's lesson. So what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to show you different blocks of information that we are going to use to build our sentences. So for instance, me encanta, me encantan. Me gustan, me gustan. No me gustan o no me gusta, odio. So remember, these are words that we use to express our opinion. Me encantan, as you can see with the emoji, is I love. Now, remember that we put that N in the middle if the following word, the one that is going to be in the yellow box, is plural. I'll give you an example. Me encantan los huevos. I love eggs. And I have to say encantan because it is followed by a word in plural. Now, I want you to take notes or check that I have different colors. Me encantan, me gusta, no me gusta, they are all in red, whereas odio is in blue. And that is for a very, very unique reason. They are two very different types of verbs. We won't cover those today because it's a long lesson to teach. But it's really important to remember that when you say odio, you must not say me odio. Because when you say that in Spanish, it sounds as you hate yourself. And of course you don't. Now, let's see what else we can actually add to this first block of words. Well, we have all our types of food. Los huevos, el cereal, la carne, el pollo, el cerdo, el arroz, el zumo, las patatas fritas. Now, these words, by the way, are some in singular, some in plural. So you need to keep an eye on those ones when you are actually giving me your opinion. So we can actually make sentences already with these two blocks of information. But I'm going to add some more. We're going to say why we like or dislike certain types of food. The difference between these two is that the second one, ya que, is slightly more difficult in terms of the use. If you say something like me encantan los huevos, ya que, you're being more sophisticated if you like. It's a good word to remember, but feel free to use only porque. Now then, we are going to say they are or it is. And in this case, we need to use es or son. Now then, we have two options and you need to choose one. And you're going to choose the right one based on plural or singular. Es is plural, es is singular, son is plural. And after this, we need to give the reason why. Ácido, agridulce, amargo, apetitoso, asqueroso, blando, bueno, condimentado, delicioso, empalagoso, exquisito, insípido, picante, sabroso, Sorry, I typed that twice. Now, what I would like you to do is I want you to choose one of the bottom levels. I've got red and yellow, purple, careful, green, purple, red, yellow, blue, purple, and green. So this is telling you how to combine these words. So for instance, if you're going to go for the long one, you're going to say something like, me encantan los huevos porque son buenos. Careful with the green section, because if you have a plural one, your word in the green box needs to be plural. If the word in yellow is a feminine word, then your word in the green box needs to be feminine. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to make or create some sentences following the colors. Okay? So 3 minutes to do that. I'll see you in a bit. I'm back. How did that go? I'm going to create some sentences so you can see how we combine this. Me gusta el cereal porque es apetitoso. Me encantan las patatas fritas porque son deliciosas. No me gusta el cerdo porque es grasoso. Odio la carne, ya que es blanda. So as you can see, I've made some sentences there. Let's see what is going to be next. Well, once again, I've got types of food here that I would like you to fill in. Then we have por qué, ya que, son. So we have the same ones that we had earlier, but now we are going to add pero, sin embargo, no obstante. So what I would like you to do is, I would like you to follow the colors that I have at the bottom. Red, yellow, red, remember, is your opinion. Yellow is the type of food. Blue will be porque or yaque. And then we have purple and green. Purple is sun, green is your opinion, or the reason for your opinion. But now, if I would love you to be challenged a bit more and try to do a sentence that it includes all these colors here. I'm going to give you 2 minutes for that. Try to make only one sentence that has all these colors that I have at the very bottom. The exclamation mark is to be very careful if it is masculine, feminine, plural, or singular. Right? 2 minutes for that. Go for it. Okay, here I am. I hope you've done it, or at least you managed to do a long sentence. Notice that in the red section here, in the red box, I put an exclamation mark. Why did I do that? Well, because when you say pero or sin embargo or no obstante, what you are doing is actually you are giving your opposite opinion. So let's have a look at some examples. Me gustan los huevos, pero no me gustan al desayuno. Me encanta el zumo, sin embargo, no me gusta el zumo de naranja. No me gusta el cereal, pero me encanta el arroz. Me gusta mucho el chorizo porque es delicioso, pero a mi padre no le gusta porque es muy grasiento. Odio el arroz al desayuno porque es muy insípido. Sin embargo, me encanta comer chorizos y patatas fritas al desayuno. So if you notice, I have, or we have here, a positive and a negative opinion. And they are linked or joined by this very unique word, pero, which is a connector. And it's the same here. Me encanta, no me gusta. Sin embargo, it's another connective one. So my last task for you today is to try and translate those 5 sentences. I'm going to give you 2 minutes for that. Off you go. Well, very important words to use. So remember, we use these words, pero, sin embargo, no obstante, in Spanish to show an opposite idea. I like eggs but I don't like them at breakfast. I love juice, however, I don't like orange juice. So you can see, I have 2 opposite ideas, and they, of course, are linked or joined by this connector. Well, I hope today's lesson has given you a bit of an idea or a bit of an insight onto how we use connectives, particularly the ones that show opposite ideas. Remember that we have three of those. We have sin embargo, or pero, sin embargo, no obstante. The difference, pero is a basic one. Sin embargo, is a kind of a medium, kind of an intermediate level. No obstante is advanced. Now, no obstante is more formal. It sounds better when you're talking in Spanish. I hope you'll use them in your Spanish lessons. Feel free to come back to these lessons, revise, check the videos again, pause them, take pictures, take notes. In the meantime, muchos éxitos y muchas gracias. Hasta muy pronto.